Welcome. This is the Messiah Revelation channel, an end time ministry. Today, we are looking at the triggers for the mark of the beast. Is there any particular event, a scenario that would trigger the mark of the beast? The mark of the beast is spoken of in the book of Revelation. It is very, very important to know about the mark of the beast because it is one of the end time events that will lead to people going to hell, people being tormented, the mark of the beast. What will trigger the mark of the beast? And I was reading an article published by End Time, Now the End Time Begins, prophecy newswatch.com. And the article made an observation, triggers for the mark of the beast. And he used the Iranian crisis as a possible trigger for the mark of the beast. And I found the article to be interesting. Is the Iranian war a path to the mark of the beast? Potentially, can it lead to the mark of the beast? And there are certain steps or scenarios that could trigger the mark of the beast. And the scenario starts from the war, American-Israel war with Iran. The first scenario is the war's impact on the global economy. Potentially, the war can impact the global economy. Why? It's because the war implicates 20% of global oil supply and the same percentage of global liquefied natural gas supply. The world's largest oil reserves are in the area, in the region, in the Gulf, and the world's largest liquefied natural gas reserve are in the area. And the war has already impacted global energy. And will the war go on? How long will the war go on? There's blockade and there's also war. Oil tankers are being attacked in the Persian Gulf. Even if the war stops, it will still have impact on the global economy for some years to come. So we are not sure whether the war will continue or the war will stop. But we see that the war is not affecting only oil and natural gas. It's affecting byproducts of oil and gas. And the byproducts include fertilizers, of course, ammonia, and other things that come from oil and gas. And if you look at the scenario, of course, it will affect global food production in the short term and probably in the long term. And so the war is not just a war, it is an economic war, and it's a war that affects global food supply. And in the end times, we know that the plagues will be many, and the pestilences will be many, and famine is one of the prophecies, events predicted in Bible prophecy in the book of Revelation and also in Matthew 24, Luke 21. When we look at the war, the Iranian war, we see that its impact is evident, and we are focusing only on two sectors. The airline industry is very the war The airline industry is very close to the war because airlines naturally are built on purchasing their jets with the hope that when they purchase the debt, they will pay for their debt with flights. People will board the airlines, they will go on vacation, they will travel, and then the airline will pay for the jet, expecting that there will be increase in the volume of traffic, people traveling. And the way things are going, you see that a war, particularly a war affecting the energy market, will directly impact airlines. Travel very difficult. Potentially, it could lead to travel restrictions. It could lead to cancellations of flight, and potentially it could also lead to some airlines folding up. And if there is that scenario, it will lead to travel lockdowns. And we saw the lockdowns that came when we had the COVID-19. Airline lockdown, travel lockdowns will have similar effect, and probably it will have more serious effects in terms of lockdowns over the world. And so the oil market will be impacted if the war continues, and the airline industry will be especially affected, and it could lead to cancellation of flights. It could lead to some airlines even going bankrupt, and it could potentially lead to travel restrictions or travel lockdowns. The B system will be happy because it is part of the scenario predicted in the book of Revelation, chapter 13, restrictions and controls. And travel restrictions is a restriction. Lockdowns is a restriction. It's part of the B system. If there's a scenario where airlines are not working and flights are reduced, and people are controlled in terms of how far they can travel. Of course, it's all part of the beast system prophesied in the book of Revelation. We're talking about the airlines. It's not only the sector that will be impacted with a prolonged war going on in the Persian Gulf. I'm talking about the war involving America, Israel, and Iran. The banking sector is also important because if the war continues, it will lead to global recession or global depression, depending upon the intensity of the war. And because the war is not just a war, a vertical war between America and Iran. It's a horizontal war. And Iranian war strategy is to fight the global economy with the intent that it will affect the world, and it will also affect the United States. It will project Iranian power on a global scale. And so it's a war against the global economy, and the banking sector is not immune. Potentially, this war could lead to disruption in the banking industry. And when the banking industry is affected, it could lead to intervention policies by central banks. And when governments intervene in the banking system, we are looking at financial implications, and we are moving closer and closer to financial growth. Part of the response will be a rollout of a new system, a new banking system, a new system of payments, and that will come in the world, and it will be implemented globally. We have to remember that the book of Revelation talks about global events that will have implications for the whole world. The mark of the beast is a global event. It will have implications on the whole world. And the banking system is a system that has impact on the global economy. You cannot talk about the global economy without talking about the banking system, the financial system, and the payment system. There will be a scenario, or there could be a scenario where the governments respond by introducing alternative financial system, and the candidate is the central bank digital currency system. Central bank digital currency system. And there has been debates about implementation, the feasibility of a central bank digital currency system. Is it possible? Is it feasible? The planners of the global economy are inching towards a central bank digital currency system. They are moving towards digital currency system, and they are moving towards digital identification system. In a scenario where governments in the world embark upon central bank digital currency system, likely they will also implement a digital ID system because you cannot access central bank digital currency system without having a digital identification system. The system could be voluntary, but when they say voluntary, we need to know that without accessing the central bank digital currency system, you'll be out of the global economy. If you don't have digital ID, if it is required, you are shut out of the global currency system. And at that time, there will be efforts to destroy paper currency. Already, many people, I'm talking about the global elites, they are championing a digital currency system. Many people are championing the abolition of paper currency. So for the sake of convenience and even for the sake of control, there will be a time that there will be a central bank digital currency system. It will gain importance. It will earn popularity. People will get into digital currency system for the sake of convenience and also for the sake of control of the global economy. And it will lead to centralization of control. It will also make it easier for people to be disengaged from the global financial payment system if you don't have a digital identification system. It could be made mandatory. Government can make a law that it is mandatory for everyone to have a digital ID. And that process is happening in many countries. At the time of making this video, it's happening in Mexico, it has happened in India, it's happening in England, and it's happening in the European Union. There's a movement towards digital identification system. If the war continues, or if there's an event that leads to implementation of central bank digital currency system, then the implement digital IDs, The implementation of digital IDs will also go ahead, and that will create the scenario for the mark of the beast. And the mark of the beast may not come out immediately, but at the time when there is the tribulation, and the tribulation is a period prophesied in the book of Revelation. It is a time of trouble, and it is a time when the world will be controlled by the beast system. And the beast system will roll out the mark of the beast. And of course, at that time, if there is central bank digital currency and if there is digital identification system, it will be easier for the beast system, for the Antichrist, to implement the mark of the beast, because there will be a scenario where people will not have access to the financial payment system. And the prophets talk about it, and I'm talking about the book of Revelation. The book of Revelation is a prophecy book, and it talks about the mark of the beast, Revelation chapter 13, verse 16. And he calls all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads. And without the mark, you cannot buy, you cannot sell. And so this is the scenario. It is a possible scenario for the implementation of the mark of the beast. The war about oil affects the global economy, and it has implications affecting different sectors of the economy, byproducts of oil and gas not being able to be sold on a global scale, and leading to repercussions, farming, leading to disruptions in airline industry and travel lockdowns, potentially leading to disturbances in the banking system and triggering governmental response. And the option is likely going to be a central bank digital currency system that will trigger the requirement for digital IDs, or that will also accelerate the movement towards digital identification system. And as you are aware, digital identification system will be a platform, and that will cause governments to deny financial access without accessing a digital currency. You cannot buy, you cannot sell. And at that time, governments will find it important. They will use all kinds of propaganda to abolish paper currency, because they want everybody to go in the way of digital currency system, and they will make it a requirement. They will make it mandatory for people to have digital identification system. It is not only government that are supporting that move. The international system, the IMF, the World Economic Forum, and the secret societies that control the world, they have an agenda. The agenda is the beast agenda, as prophesied in the book of Revelation. And so this is a scenario that is possible, that the war in the Middle East, the Iranian war, will affect the global economy, and it will especially affect the airline industry, and more specifically, it will affect the banking system, and it will trigger implementation of digital solutions. And the digital solutions will include the requirement for digital identification. And with that digital identification, you cannot buy, you cannot sell. And that scenario will intensify in the tribulation that is coming. If you accept the mark of the beast, you will be eternally. And as as we are talking about this, we know that we are very close to the coming of the mark of the beast. The triggers are there, the scenarios are there. How about looking at a scenario where the war in the Middle East leads to global disturbances and the implementation of digital currency system and digital ID system. And lo and behold, we see the tribulation and we see the mark of the beast coming in plain sight. Excuse me. This is Messiah Revelation Ministry. Thank you for watching this video and sharing this video. The trigger for the mark of the beast. Could it be a global war? Could it be the war in the Middle East that will trigger steps that will lead to a final currency that is digital and an ID that is digital? Will it lead to the mark of the beast? Is there a time when somebody will come out from somewhere, nowhere, and claim to have the solution to all world problems, environmental problems, even the war going on in the Middle East? Will that person be the Antichrist that is foretold in the book of Revelation? Thank you for watching this video. You need to ponder about it. The Messiah is coming very soon. The prophecies predicted in the Bible will all be fulfilled, and the scenarios for the fulfillment are there. And we are talking about the potential for central bank digital currency system, abolishing of paper currency, introduction of digital identification system, and the appearance of a man who will proclaim that he has answers to the world economic problems, and he will be the Antichrist, and he will be the one that will implement the mark of the beast. We are very close to that scenarios. We need to repent because time is of the essence. Thank you again, Messiah Revelation Ministry.